Hello and welcome to Zeropoint Energy, where there's 0 point what we talk about and just as much energy. I'm Sean.
And I'm Jorge. Today, we're going to be talking about a movie called John Dies at the End from 2012.
Which is based on a set of short story web series from 2012. And it's weird.
It's actually one of the most entertaining movies I've seen. It is out there, but it is definitely fun.
It is. It is a psychedelic trip.
In more ways than one. I mean, basic storyline. Two normal dudes just out of high school, let's say 2 years, more or less, get into some kind of weird stuff involving an alien of some sort, and then they get dosed with a drug and trippiness ensues.
Pretty much.
Now, the movie itself has to do with Paul Giamatti, who plays a journalist. Well, yeah, we can call him a journalist. I wouldn't call him a reporter exactly, but he visits a guy named David Wong, our main character. He's in a Chinese restaurant. Dave Wong is not his real name, and he wants to tell the story of what exactly happened, how he is currently in his situation. So we're literally just thrust into the story. There's no backstory, and it slowly gets filled in, which is how I prefer things to go. I don't like exposition dump and then in the story, you know?
Yeah, and it's not one of those backwards movies where they start you at the end and then you get the, oh, hi. Yeah, that's me. I bet you're wondering how we got here. No, this just starts with the action and then kind of goes to the, oh shit, I should probably tell you what's going on type of situation, which is better.
No, I agree. Now, we have David, who can somehow guess things and know things about people, and we find out that it has to do with teriyaki sauce. No, wait, soy sauce. Sorry, soy sauce.
Yeah, so teriyaki was busy doing dirty things with the sweet and sour. That's how you get Szechuan.
Oh, God. Moving on. All right, so there's this drug that's called soy sauce, and it has some kind of psychedelic / reality bending effect where you can see things from other realities and then somehow also go into said realities.
Yeah.
So we have Dave Wong talking with his reporter friend, played by Paul Giamatti. Arnie, right? Arnie Stone.
Not Arnie. It's not Stone, but yeah, it's Arnie.
Okay, so he starts telling him about the entire situation where their very first adventure, somehow they went to a party. They had a very interesting band, not very good, honestly. His friend John was the main singer, right?
Yeah, but you say not very good. I think the song Camel Holocaust is amazing.
No, what is wrong with you? Look up Camel Holocaust on... What the hell was the name of that band? Fuck.
I forget.
Okay, hold on.
There's only 2 songs in this entire movie.
The second one was good. The first one it sucked.
Neither one is horrible, though.
The first one, it sucked, dude. Okay, the music was good. The lyrics were shit.
You just didn't like that they kept saying Camel Holocaust over and over again.
Just it didn't make sense, man. No. Look, point is, the band sucked. Okay, I think the band sucked.
By your definition of suck, that means Scotty Doesn't Know is a horrible song.
At least it had
It told a story, and it just said the same thing over and over again. Camel Holocaust tells a story. It's a weird fucking story, but it tells a story.
Okay, the song sucked, but it fit the movie, okay?
Exactly.
Okay, I hate you. Where was I? Okay, so somehow they meet a guy who... I forgot his name, but he's basically a drug dealer, and his name, according to...
Marley. Oh, Robert Marley.
Yes, according to the cops, his name was Robert Marley. Ha ha. So then, somehow, Dave goes home. He falls asleep. He wakes up at like 3 a.m. and he gets a call from John saying, "John, I need your help. Get over here, please. Sorry for calling you so many times." Then he goes over there. There's nothing there except off camera. We can kind of see this kind of like spider thing. Hold on, people.
I mean,
So
the spider thing was kind of awesome. And then you get a half naked John just tackling David out of nowhere.
yeah, that was like
Like, it just seemed like someone just high off their balls. Just like, dude, do you see it? Do you see it? Don't turn around. There's a monster. And we don't see the monster for most of this conversation. And then all of a sudden they just kind of show it over Dave's shoulder.
now while he's packing things up and actually seeing the okay, we see the spider. He doesn't, but he picks up this syringe with a dark liquid, which is the soy sauce. He puts the syringe cap on it, puts it in his pocket. They go to the car and then they start driving. During the driving, then he talks with John. John calms down a little bit, says, "I'm sorry, things are going to happen. I remember this stuff." And it doesn't make sense. He's talking about the past is the future is the past. And from there, then somehow,
It's all very timey-wimey stuff.
I wouldn't even call it timey-wimey. I think that's an insult to Doctor Who at this point.
A little bit. I mean, it's a little bit more of like maybe Time Machine.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Like, it's so weird. Like, it's so hard to explain. Like, they are literally everywhere, every time, simultaneously.
I wouldn't go that far. It's close, but not that far. I mean, from what we saw, they were talking, they were driving. Then somehow the safety cap off the needle comes unscrewed. It injects Dave, and then you can see this kind of like living drug, which is the soy sauce, because it has hair and it's slimy and it morphs itself and such. It's like it's not truly any one thing. It can turn into whatever the hell it wants. It turned into a fly halfway through the movie.
It does. Like, they half-assedly explain that later on. Apparently, it's living machines.
Yeah, it's some kind of interdimensional thing. I mean, it
Yeah,
chooses you.
They weirdly explained that too. Like, technically, it's not alternate dimensions. It's when the Big Bang happened, the explosion was so massive that every single possibility happened simultaneously, and it's all one giant universe, not a multiverse. It's just the different timelines all happen. So you have that timeline where, like, the sun comes up in the east and sets in the west, and then one where it comes up in the west and sets in the east, and the one where it comes up in the north and sets in the south. Or you were born with blonde hair instead of brown hair because recessive genes are dominant. It's weird, but kind of an interesting concept at the same time. But it's also it helps the movie be more confusing too, because they're explaining it as time is not linear, time is an ocean. So everything exists everywhere. You just have to find the right part of the ocean. So as you can learn to read the waves, you could see everything.
That was an interesting interpretation of bullshit, but okay, we'll take it.
I mean, it's bullshit, but it's the half-assed explanation they give us in the movie.
Fine, I'll take it. Look, the movie goes from everything is happening all at once to nothing is happening because everything happened. It makes no sense, and yet it makes some sense because part of the way through the movie it seems like okay, time travel, but then no, it's not time travel. It's like talking to a dead person psychically, and then no, it's what was the other thing they said? Like possession or something?
Yeah. Like, I'm so much better at existentialism than I am at metaphysics. And this entire movie is a metaphysics problem wrapped in an existential crisis, wrapped in a fever dream.
Okay, basically, There's real and there's not real. And they both exist at the same time. Both are true in a different sense to each other. We have different dimensions, one on top of the other, and then we have two explanations for the exact same thing, and that's why that part doesn't make sense. Specifically where he's talking to John. John is dead, but John is not dead. And then he possessed a dog, and then he wasn't. And then they spoke telepathically to each other.
Yeah, which is why the only real explanation is, like Jorge said, it's everything is happening simultaneously while nothing has happened. But nothing is happening because something happened.
Like, okay, I wish this movie made more sense. It doesn't. There are parts of it where it's funny. Like, they said, what was it? John was talking to Dave on a phone. The phone was broken. Then he told him to buy a bratwurst. He bought the bratwurst. He put the bratwurst to his head. He could still hear John. Obviously, the phone had nothing to do with it. And then they imply telepathy and say it telepathy. Then somehow, to play up the fake realism of it, I guess. How would you say that? The ridiculousness.
Yeah.
They say that there's $100 bill between the hot dog and the bun. There was lettuce. Only lettuce. Like, you make every other thing weird. And then the quote-unquote weirdest absurd thing does not get played on. Why?
No. Honestly, within that same joke, I think my favorite thing is while he's talking into the bratwurst, he goes, "So you're going to need to take a cab or get an Uber or something to come to me." And it's like, how? I only had $8 in my pocket and I spent $3 of that on a hot dog. Like, and John, the dead guy, goes, like, you hear his voice, "That bratwurst was $3? Holy fuck, you got ripped off."
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's... Okay, little comedy bits, fine. Also, this movie had to have somehow been inspired by Raimi. I swear.
Yes, they have a lot of semi-stop motion practical effects that are very Raimi, the God, what the fuck? Army
Evil
of the
Dead?
Dead style.
Yep, exactly. There was another scene where they had this, what would you call it? Freezer full of meat. Obviously, it was fake meat, but it was full of meat. And then they were trying to fight some kind of evil monster. Turns out they both saw some kind of dead person differently, and then the monster attacked, came out of the freezer, and started spewing itself all over the place, and then slowly started coming together, kind of like a Megazord in Power Rangers.
Yeah.
From there, then they were going to fight it, and then they're like, wait, who do you want? We're not Marconi. We need... Oh, right, Marconi. He's a guy who is some kind of, like, wizard almost, or magician dude who knows all this stuff and is kind of like a Jesus character trying to bring everybody to a new epoch, or, spiritual New Agey bullshit. And
Yeah,
somehow...
he's legitimately the Ex Machina character. It's like, he barely has any screen time. They don't reference him hardly at all throughout the entire movie. But it's like, when they show him, he is this all-powerful being.
I wouldn't go all-powerful, but yes, he's like...
He exploded a meat monster by talking to it on the phone, and we never even hear what the fuck he says.
True, okay. Maybe all he did was say its name. I mean, that's kind of a thing in demonology.
I might explode if he said my name.
Just so you know, the guy who plays Marconi is the same guy who voices Mr. Krabs. So I don't know what that says about the things that my friend likes here. Apparently, he likes gruff voices and...
I said
lobsters.
what I said.
God damn you. Okay, moving on. Now, the reason why I specifically wanted to do this movie was because I had recently heard about DMT and ayahuasca and stuff, and how it seems like we might actually be able to see other things that are out there based on being on a hallucinogenic. So this movie kind of...
This movie is a great advertisement for DMT.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
Soy sauce is DMT.
No. God,
Headcanon
no.
confirmed.
Fuck. God, fuck your head. You know what? You can fuck your own head with DMT. That's not how that works. That's all I'm gonna say. Look, my point is there are people who, if you have heard of DMT, they can see these elf things, and apparently it's fairly consistent among different people, even different cultures and such. And then there are people who have other, even weirder experiences where they see the same creature and it seems to act the exact same way between the different experiences that people have. So there may be something to it where you can see other things that are out there, other planes or whatever, which I thought this would be playing on, which it did with a stupid, like, eldritch, otherworld being thing. They called it Korok, right?
Yes, Korak.
Anyways, so they visit another world in this movie and they're trying to stop this thing from coming into our world. It's in another world in the past, some guy in the 1800s did something called bestiology, where he was trying to mix different beings. I believe it was a donkey and a bull, and he was
Oh
successful.
yeah, Clydesdale and a bull.
Okay, Clydesdale and the bull. And somehow he was able to make them crossbreed, and he made thinking machines. I'm pretty sure he fucked these things, and he put human intelligence in them. I mean, it's a name like bestiology. It's right the heck there.
I do like how the one timeline the boar gores him, but in the other timeline, like he successfully creates thinking machines out of a severed pig's head.
Yeah, that brings to mind the, what do you call it, when they tried to connect one chimpanzee's head, one chimpanzee's head from one body to another. They connected everything, and it survived for like 3 days.
They had the dog that made it a couple weeks.
Holy shit! When was that?
Similar experiments that was done by, I believe, Mangala, though.
Of course it was Mengele. Of course it was, and of course it survived 2 weeks. It was fucking Mengele, the freaking angel of death.
I guess it's the extra super dark side of World War II that people never want to talk about is technically, in a very roundabout way, the Nazis did good thing. Now, I really have to defend this. The
God
Nazis
damn
were
it.
horrible, horrible, evil fucking people in general. But that evilness led to so many breakthroughs in general science, rocket science, and medical science. I mean, literally, some of the research that was done in the almost decade that was World War II pushed science 100 years.
I have a really bad joke about that. Basically, too bad the war didn't go on longer. Maybe we could have recovered the 200 years that we lost during the Dark Ages.
Possibly. Realistically, that's one of the good things about war. War really pushes science and creates some great innovation. I mean, there's the dark upside to war, where it thins the surplus population. Like, realistically, most people most people who know the science behind it will say the Earth is becoming overpopulated. Eventually, rapidly, it's going to become uninhabitable. There's not enough resources to support the number of people on it. But when we have major wars like World War One, World War Two, Korea, Vietnam, those
Vietnam was a police
major
action.
conflicts where people were dying in the millions, like we're stabilizing the ecosystem.
Okay, speaking as a person who knows shit, I agree with you somewhat, but I mean, as a human, it still sucks. How many people did we lose during COVID? Like 2.5 million, maybe more?
Yeah, but look at all the good that came from the lockdowns. Like, pollution planet wide dropped significantly. Like, enough that planetary temperatures shifted.
So
Like
we would
we're
have had
literally
to.
benefiting from the fact that we kind of shut down our planet for half a year. Imagine if we just did that more often. Or think of the good that would come from stop making people drive to offices. Let them just work from home.
I, okay. Besides me being lazy, I actually agree with that because if I don't have to drive everywhere, I can just stay home, get stuff done. I actually don't have to travel to and from work. I can actually do my laundry on a weekday rather than the weekend.
Yeah, like, unless you do a labor job that requires you to physically be present at your work site, there's no reason to go to work. Oh, to be correct, there's no reason to go to an office. Like these major corporations always want to make as much profit as possible by underpaying and overworking their employees. But most of those same companies were equally as profitable in the years when half their workforce was working from home. It's almost like they're wasting money paying rent and leases on office buildings when you could just pay your employees.
Okay, yeah. It it would save a lot of money now that I think about it. Like, imagine how much money they pay for Squarespace and like, okay, it's per square in like downtown Chicago, with Sears Tower, John Hancock, all that jazz. I mean, basically, it would just be for tourists at that point.
Yeah. And then we could get rid of those office spaces because you don't need people in there. You don't need to set up these big cube firms for people to come sit in front of their computer and answer phones. Like people who do jobs like that could do it from home. It works. And what you could do is you could take those office spaces, renovate them, and hey, all of a sudden we have housing for the homeless.
You know they won't do that. Plus, homeless is a three-pronged, okay, probably more, but fairly a three-pronged problem. You've got addiction, craziness, and then apathy.
Yeah, but those buildings are big enough, especially like there's big multi-story buildings where all they are different offices. Like different companies own each floor or are renting each floor. You could literally set up, move in on one floor, a social worker office on another floor, do mental health services. Make one entire floor a kitchen and general mess areas for people to come have food, and then the rest you dedicate to sleeping and living quarters. And now you have a mini self-contained city where people who need help and shelter can get it.
Oh no, I agree wholeheartedly. I'm just saying it's a more difficult problem than just housing. But yes,
Yeah, but you can literally think of that when you have a 20-story building that doesn't need to be occupied by corporations.
if only. But like anything, everything's a business, and business never ends.
And you know what's a great business? Psychedelic drugs.
God damn
So,
it!
so David is telling this story to the reporter, and the reporter is getting excited by it. Like he's like, "We could sell this. We could probably make a decent book out of it," and that somewhat offends David. So he decides to just go whole hog and just start telling him like more of the details and the, I would say, the interesting bits that have been going on in the last year of his life.
Yeah, that's when he starts getting into the actual meat and potatoes of the story, not just the beginning.
Yeah.
He has an encounter with a cop after the soy sauce. Who knows how the hell the cop got there? Maybe he blacked out for a little bit, but he literally just appears after he meets up with what was his name? North?
Yes.
Roger North. And Roger
Which
North.
North is played by one of the greatest actors ever, um, Doug. Oh shit! Damn
Oh,
it! I just spaced on the last name.
Roger North. Roger
Doug
North.
Jones.
Doug Jones.
Doug Jones is amazing.
Who is this guy? He looks familiar. I just really do not know who he
He's
is.
usually in heavy makeup in most movies he's in.
Holy crap, he's been in a lot of shit.
Yeah, he
Maybe.
has. Well, Hellboy 2, he is the physical actor in. He's under all the makeup for the aquatic guy. I forgot his name.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Pan's Labyrinth.
Something Jones. No,
Yeah.
Lincoln. No. What?
Uh,
Abraham. Abraham. That's his name.
Abraham. In Pan's Labyrinth, he's the physical actor that is inside the hand guy suit.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, he has done so many interesting things like that. Usually in heavy prosthetics, and you never actually see Doug Jones in a movie. You see the makeup.
Oh, in case you didn't know, he was Captain Saru in the science fiction series Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
Didn't know that, did you?
I didn't, but that's only because I refuse to watch Discovery.
I know. Okay, so for some reason, when he was
A young
okay,
boy, he
what?
went down to the city to see a marching band.
God damn it, no. Okay, sorry, I don't like that too much. But moving on, I was talking about right when he got stuck with the soy sauce. He was actually talking to a priest over the phone, trying to get some help, maybe some spiritual help, because he thinks he needs help in demonism. Obviously, this man is not very well versed in the otherworldly. So he starts talking to the priest, and then the priest starts telling him, "You're going to witness the end of the world. Things are going to happen. You're going to die because of the soy sauce." And I don't know if it was just like a commentary on the Catholic Church is evil, maybe, or it was just, I'm starting to hallucinate for the first time, and
Well,
the soy sauce is fucking with him.
I turned it into commentary on the Catholic Church as being evil, but I was thinking of it more in the sense of like the Catholic Church needs to be more like this preacher was. Like he literally went from "How can I help you?" like he being polite and all that to literally having a demonic voice and like, you're fucked, right? You're gonna die. Everyone's going to die. The world sucks. Like, if the Catholic Church did more of that and less kitty diddling, the world would be a better place.
So you just want to turn the Catholic Church into Baptist preachers?
I mean, if they stop touching little kids, they can do whatever they want.
There's still a lot of stuff between kitty diddling and whatever they want to still be good. So we're going to be a little more precise with that. Let's say on the right, on the light, on the right, on the side of morally good. We'll go with that.
I would let them do anything they want because they already do, as long as they stop touching kids.
Okay, look, we're not here to discuss all the sins of the Catholic Church, but let me just say that they're out there.
Well, even
Moving on.
forgive the lies about touching the little kids if they just stopped doing it.
Can we move on?
They've been asking the Catholic Church that for the last 200 years.
200. What the hell happened in the 1800s?
I
We're not.
believe
No.
that.
Oh, God damn you. I know what you're going
I
to do.
believe that was when Borgia was Pope and he had an unhealthy obsession with his 9-year-old daughter
No,
and
Borgia
his
wasn't Pope in the
16-year-old
1800s.
son, who he turned into Jesus.
Can we, one time, can we not mention Pope Mafia or whatever?
Mafia Pope.
That's it.
I mean, it's hard not to.
Okay. Just,
He had an affair with his 9-year-old niece.
how does that prayer go? Bloody Mary, full of grace. Blessed art thou amongst cocktails. Something like that.
I mean, at least when Stars made a TV show about it, they made her 19. Woohoo! They added a 1.
Moving on. God damn it. Okay, look. Back to the movie. Point is, they were about to try to get some help. Obviously, it was demonic. Then the cop comes in, and he takes them both downtown. They start interviewing him. Then when they interview him, he tells the truth, tries to get some help. The cop says, okay, trying to get somewhere. Tells him what happened to other people and Robert Marley, where they all died, and he saw some. No, wait, he didn't tell that part of the story there. He just said stuff happened, people died, and then something happened to John. John was dying, and then Dave was left alone in another room with another cop, and he got a phone call from John. From there, they start talking. John says that the cop isn't actually real. Look at the mirror. For some reason, the cop isn't real. You can still touch him and he can touch you, but he's not reflected in the mirror. It's like he's a vampire, but not because it's daylight outside.
The cop was David's inner Catholic priest. It touched him unwantingly.
Moving on. God damn it. That was a fucking stretch, man.
Was it though?
Duh! Okay, moving on. After that, that's when we get to the hot dog scene. From the hot dog scene, he gets home. Somehow he finds his car again. He didn't even have to get it at like the impound or anything. Also, somehow this takes place in Illinois. No front plates, according to Sean, and I didn't notice any of that. But he shouldn't have been able to get his car from the impound at all.
True, and there's also the dog, Barkley, who is a great dog, who plays himself in the movie.
His name is Barkley?
Yeah, Barkley.
I'm looking it up.
2 words. Barkley is played by Barkley.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
Oh yeah, I was paying attention to the end credit sequence because I was enjoying the music. But like the dog, like when the police arrest you and you have an animal in the vehicle, they call animal services. Or they shoot it, but that's mostly the DEA or the ATF.
Wait, the ATF shoots a dog?
Oh, like, do you not pay attention to gun rights stories? ATF has been shooting dogs for years.
Okay,
I thought there's a great YouTuber. He's called the AK guy, Brandon Herrera. Watch any of his videos. He makes thousands of references to the ATF shooting dogs.
Okay, I thought you were talking about like animal treatment, and then F meant something else, not arms, tobacco, and alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
What? Could the DEA shoots dogs too?
Okay, who doesn't? Okay, you know what?
Pretty much all the federal agencies, like the whole alphabet soup group of people, they like to shoot animals. It's so much faster than calling animal services.
Okay, just moving on. As a discrepancy? No, wait.
It's a discrepancy.
I mean, yes, it's a discrepancy, but no. What I mean is, to preface or to correct Sean in something, by alphabet suit, we do not mean or have anything to do with the LGBT community. We do not think you guys have anything to do with the government or that you shoot dogs. Just putting that out there.
Meh.
What the? I'm trying to keep us out of hot water. You just want to thrust us back in.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, moving on. So, after he escapes, Dave makes it over to Robert's place with Barkley in tow, and he's still hearing John, although statically, because he's losing the soy sauce in the system. After the soy sauce, then he gets a connection saying, as long as you'll be fine. Like, what? John didn't hear that, and then lost the connection. So
he ended up breaking into Bob Marley's...
Robert Marley.
I'm going to call him Bob fucking Marley because Bob is short for Robert, god damn it.
But Bob Marley's copyrighted.
No, it's not. He's a real person. It's a noun. You cannot copyright somebody's birth name.
Fine. Go ahead.
But fine. Robert Marley. He goes...
now it's Bob. Go ahead, Bob.
So he goes and breaks into Marley's trailer. And he finds weird shit, but everything in this movie is weird shit, so it's actually kind of normal-ish. Except for the brain floating in an aquarium, apparently powering his computers.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know what happened there. They didn't explain any of that. It was just connected to...
Well, they do explain it, but they don't explain it until 20 minutes later when they explain about the living computer systems and everything.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So okay. Going back. So
So you got that, uh, and he's seeing security camera feed where it shows the detective come in, and then he shoots Dave. So Dave goes out in the living room. There's nobody there. He turns around, and then he turns around, and then he turns around, and the detective is there holding a can of gas. Apparently, he's going to kill it all with fire. Uh, they talk mostly gibberish. They're literally like riffing off each other, but neither one of them is making a point.
and then somehow with the sauce, because it fell from a freezer, it literally just jumped out of there and then shot itself out of like an aluminum can or something like that.
Yeah.
And what's it called? John takes no Dave. Dave takes one of them, swallows it, and then the other one tries to go into his mouth. It doesn't. It turns into a fly and then embeds itself into his face.
Yeah.
Then he describes the experience as, "Oh my god, it hurts! It hurts! It hurts! You can feel it all over your body." Then suddenly there's calm. There's just calm, and then he was able to like think trillions of things a second and then explore the universe and think about how something logically happens.
And this
then
is when we start getting the explanations of everything is happening simultaneously, but nothing's happening at the moment. But because nothing's happening, everything is happening. Because he has that moment where he goes into the expanded infinite time universe where he's knows everything that's going to happen, has happened, and is happening, but he doesn't understand what's happening because it hasn't happened yet, or it did happen, but it didn't happen the way he experienced it.
so he went back in time, kind of, and witnessed a guy who was loading ammunition. If you don't know what that means putting everything together to make the cartridge that is and shoots the bullets.
Yes. He was watching the assembly line, literally filling rounds with black powder, putting the bullet in, crimping them down, and all that. And what he saw, like, technically he was there because he says something. He gets the attention of the guy working the machine, and he looks around and doesn't see anything. But while he's distracted from the press, a fly flies in, goes fits perfectly into the neck of this cartridge for these 9mm rounds, gets pressed in, and then we see that the detective has that particular box of ammunition and he's loading that particular round into the magazine that is in his gun. And then the detective shoots Dave.
Now the question is, if he hadn't taken the soy sauce, would he have died? Or would he have not died and it would have been a foregone conclusion? Did he actually have an effect by having taken the soy sauce? Or did he just witness it?
The kind of way the movie explains it is yes.
I hate when you do that.
It's not my fault. Yes. This movie literally explains it like yes. These are events that were going to happen no matter what. So Dave didn't affect them by taking the soy sauce. But Dave saw them because he took the soy sauce. Therefore, he experienced them differently. Therefore, they definitely played out the way they're meant to play out. So, yes, these events take place because Dave took the soy sauce. But these events would have played out like this anyways without the soy sauce. So, the answer is yes.
Maybe. Okay, look. Point is, during that conversation, we find out that the cop was there the night that everybody died. Oh, right, a bunch of people died. No, I did mention that, right?
I have no idea.
Fuck it.
I don't pay attention when you talk.
Fuck you. Okay, bunch of people died. He was there that night. He goes into Bob Marley's house. He sees that Bob Marley's body is basically a bunch of desiccated bones and bloody mess.
It exploded into just a shower of insects.
Yes. Then, for some reason, the insects start attacking this guy named. Actually, what was his name?
Justin.
Justin, right. And he's a white, wannabe, acting black type dude. Everybody knows a guy like that. And if you don't, then I'm grateful for you. No, happy for you. There we go. I'm happy for you. After he sees this, he goes out again for some reason. He goes back inside. Instead of being attacked by the white stuff, Justin is fine. We don't know exactly what happened, but he just knows that there's some fucked up shit going on. He gets out of there. From there, he goes to his back to the Bob Marley's house because he knows that something is going on. He's an old school Catholic, and he knows that people go to hell, but maybe there's stuff out there that you don't know, that you can't see. Because, like the Catholic Creed says, actually, maybe you don't know. You're not Catholic. I know I am, or was. And it says, I believe in things that are. You used to be.
Tiny bit.
You're not even baptized.
And?
Okay, moving on. Anyways, the Creed says, I believe in things that are seen and unseen. And so, by this same logic, he extends it into this stuff is out there. And maybe hell isn't just a place that's separate from here. It's actually here and all around us and things that we can't see. And that's his logic. And he stands by it. And he starts trying to destroy everything. Shoots John. John stays alive. And then the house is on fire. Gets crashed into by the cop. The cop leaves, and then John leaves and says hi to Barkley again.
I mean, the cop basically points out what we all know. Hell is other people.
Look, all I know is that
humanity is a plague.
No. Why? What is wrong with you? I mean, yes, but no.
I mean, this movie kind of emphasizes that.
No. It says that demons are a plague.
But the demons are a plague that are killing humans. Because they're a abundant food source, therefore they are a plague.
Look, all I know is that heaven is a place on earth, okay? Look.
Oh, yeah, by the way, Jorge said that Dave reunites with Barkley. He glossed over the fact that Barkley drove Dave's early model Ford Bronco through a wall.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. He did drive it through the wall. How? God knows.
Barkley is a golden retriever, by the way.
Okay, that explains it. Airbud
drove a dog. Yes, Airbud. Airbud drove a truck through a wall.
And saved his life. He gets out there. That dog deserves a steak. Like legit. Like a big, thick, juicy brisket or something.
Barkley is the goodest of boys.
Alright, after the rescue, he gets captured at that point, right?
It's weird. But yeah, like the detective captures no, Justin captures him.
Exactly. So he
has Amy, the girl from the party with the prosthetic hand.
We didn't even mention Amy. God damn it.
He's got the Asian guy,
Fred.
And he's got John, who's semi-comatose.
How did he survive?
We don't know. The movie doesn't explain this shit.
All right,
Let's just go with yes. Is John alive at this point? But it's not the end. John dies in the end.
Somehow, John talks to Dave through the dog. Then they talk, and then Dave cuddles with Amy. Barkley licks or puts his snout towards John, and John magically wakes up.
Yeah, he literally boops John's hand with his snoot, electrifies him, and he comes out of his catatonic state and is just fully functional and alive again. And Fred just accepts it.
I mean, I would
Fred
too at this point. What?
Fred is weird. Fred just accepts shit.
He was also a little freaked out, but yes, he does.
Yeah.
So, they end up going to an abandoned mall, which my colleague here likens it to the 59th Mall, where the
Yeah, apparently I was completely wrong about that because despite the fact that this movie is set in an undisclosed Midwestern town and all the cars have Illinois plates on them, it was shot entirely in Southern California.
of course it was.
Like, fuck you people. We have a lot of abandoned shit here in Illinois because, the Great White Flight Part 2 is happening.
Still?
Still, constantly. People are abandoning Illinois by droves. Like, our population is going down. Our taxes are going higher. Like, these people don't seem to understand that leaving isn't helping. Leaving is making it worse.
Well, leaving helps them.
Well, you know what would help? Stop voting for the same 6 fucking people every year.
Bring back Ronner. Bring back Ronner. I'm kidding.
Honestly, yes. But
You hate Republicans.
I do, but he was actually doing something useful. He was standing up to the fucking Madigans.
Madigan's gone now.
No, he's not dead yet, though. He still has public office. He's just not the Speaker of the House.
Maybe we
Madigan
need
needs
some
to
soy sauce.
not be in politics. Madigan has sat in the same public office since before I was born.
Well, okay,
I was born in 1985. This man entered his office in 1976.
Can we get off the politics, man?
No, 'cause it's Illinois. We're in Illinois. Illinois is fucked. And people thinking that it's going to get better if you leave. No, it's not going to leave because you're going to move to another state and do the same dumb shit that you did the entire time you're in Illinois. And it's not going to get better. You're just going to fuck up that state too. Stay here and fix your mistakes.
I didn't make any mistakes. I was just born.
Exactly. You were born here, you will die here.
No, if I have my way, I'll die in Mexico.
But it's like all the older people who are leaving, though. Like, oh, Illinois politics are so corrupt. It's so bad. Stop voting for the same 5 people.
Okay, back to the movie. Where the hell even were we? Oh, right, at the mall. So, they're in the mall. And Justin says, get over here with his slang and stuff, and says, we're going to be doing stuff. We need you to open the ghost door. And John and Dave can see the ghost door. Nobody else can see the ghost door. Then
And they need Amy to prosthetic hand girl to open the door because the only way to open a ghost door is with a phantom limb.
That was funny. That was wrong. That was funny.
That was.
So, John ends up running to a box that he sent himself somehow. Like earlier, we see an allusion to it, but it doesn't make much sense. Anyways, he sees it, then he runs towards it. Justin catches up to him, grabs the box, pulls it open, sees a note that says, remember to look at a trash can thing on the outside of the mall. So then Justin goes to do it. I forgot what happens after that. Fuck my life.
While he's outside looking at the trash can, the cop comes up, shoots him with a shotgun, sets him on fire.
Right. Okay, yeah. So then it seems like everything's okay.
And he saves the day and rescues everybody.
Yep.
And as they're driving away, he starts talking about the fact that he can hear screaming voices in his head. And then his head explodes. And you see the little insects start pouring out. The little white bugs that had infected Justin had also infected the cop.
So then they crash, they get out of there, and they're trying to save themselves. They see the white stuff, then they try to protect each other. The white bugs start infecting Fred. Fred acts like he's okay. We're the good guys. Nothing happened to me. We're fine. And then Amy runs with a shotgun and gives it to Dave.
Yeah, and then they tell Dave to go. Dave tells Fred go flag down a car. And as soon as Fred turns to walk away, they shoot him in the back with a shotgun, drag him to the car, shoot the car to make it explode, so that they can kill him and the bugs with fire, which apparently worked. And
But
then yada yada skips some time because it's kind of how it happened. Literally, they just yada yada skip some time. They meet up with Marconi,
inside of the ghost store.
who gives them a bomb that can blow up Korok.
Also, one thing though, the white insects are supposed to be from another dimension that are trying to infect our world and stuff, but they never explain exactly where they come from or how they connect to Korok.
Uh, they're part of the living. I want to say they're part of the living computer shit.
Okay, fine.
Like like they're the anti soy sauce. The soy sauce is black bugs. They're the white bugs.
So white is chaos, black is peace. Good to know. Well, not peace. What would you call this? Funny shit to save the world. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the only thing you can explain with it. I mean, it's weird. Okay, look. Point is,
So then they go through the ghost store with their newly acquired ghost bomb.
the ghost bomb is literally a huge piece of hallucinogenic and like a nuclear delivery system.
Yeah. So they go through the ghost store and people are waiting for them on the other side. Apparently, they've been waiting years for them to arrive. And to make them feel comfortable, all the women take off their clothes.
They don't take off their clothes. They arrived with no clothes on.
Well, they said that they disrobed to make them feel comfortable.
I mean, I know I'd feel welcome.
I would too. I mean, there's a lot of titties. Most of them were very nice.
True. Very true.
So then we're treated to them going to what's essentially a tent revival.
It looks like a temple completely dedicated to them, too.
Yeah. And the guy who was with the half naked women basically preaches at them. Then he takes them to visit Korok. Korok apparently there is such a hard way to describe this thing. It's the high intelligence from Futurama.
Yeah, that works.
He's just this big booming voice inside this disfigured brain inside this like secret chamber somewhere. I mean, they're in a giant fucking tent, but this thing looks like it's in a warehouse.
Yeah, it's like
It's yada yada skip some time, change locations. That's how the movie played that part. So they're there. They have a half-ass fight, which isn't a fight, but it's a fight. And then they blow up the bomb, and yay, they killed Korok. They saved reality.
technically Bark Lee saved reality.
Yeah,
That's right. The dog went with them and saved the world.
Barkley had to sacrifice himself.
Because these idiots couldn't set the bomb to actually go off. It stopped at 7 seconds.
Well, in John's defense, he is a massive drug addict.
God damn it, you went there.
So
really?
the fact that he could not push 3 different buttons in the right sequence, I kind of can forgive him for. The fact that he got most of the sequence down right is amazing.
He killed Air Bud by his own incompetence.
True, but I mean, the dog doesn't really seem to be trying that hard to keep himself alive, anyways.
Because he was
He's following
good,
these 2
brave
idiots
doggo.
around.
What?
Because he's willingly following these 2 idiots around.
He was telepathically connected to North and Marconi, so he knew what had to be done. Okay? He was brave, and everybody should salute. What the hell? Barkley, that's his name. Okay.
Yep.
It's okay. God damn it.
So, hey, they saved. Before they can teleport back to the real world, Marconi shows up in the ghost world. They don't explain how the fuck he got there. And then he's the one who takes them out. They don't explain that either. Like, the whole ending of this movie is yada yada, this shit happens, yada yada.
Then at the end of the movie, after the interview, turns out Arnie's dead. He literally is just a manifestation of Dave's imagination, and then once he finds out he's dead, he pops out of existence, and turns out he was black. Playing by Paul Giamatti, this
Yeah,
dude was black.
because it's the manifestation of what Dave thought he would look like based upon only hearing his voice a few times on phone calls.
I don't know what Dave heard, but Paul Giamatti's voice does not sound like a black dude.
No, no, no. The black man is his real form. Assume this black man has Paul Giamatti's voice, and you only ever hear Paul Giamatti's voice.
That's still
What
freaking
the fuck
weird.
would you imagine that voice is attached to? Would you assume 6 foot tall black man or small fat Italian man?
Italian man, fine. But to be
Yeah,
fair, I swear they did this exact same trick in Odd Thomas.
they might have. It's a common thing.
Yeah, fine. So, after this, then Paul mentions that his girlfriend Amy is out of town in upstate college, which I don't know if we have an upstate college here in Illinois.
I mean Northwestern and NIU. Those are pretty north of the city.
I know you, I'll give you. Northwestern is
It's decently north of the city, but
still.
NIU is farther north.
I'll go with NIU.
You also have Evanston,
Evanston
um,
doesn't count.
Resurrection.
I'll give you Resurrection. Okay, look. Point is, she's out there, and then he's playing basketball with his friend Dave. No, John. Sorry. John. Dave is playing basketball with John.
Yeah,
They find a portal to another dimension. They go into it to get the ball that went in there. They're like, I don't want it to go on another adventure. And then they end up going there. From there, they meet people who are like, you are unsullied. Then another people who are part of the Human Liberation Army come towards them and then give them a big speech about waiting for travelers from another world to save them. They say, hold on, we gotta go get our tools, we'll be right back. Obviously, they don't want to stay. They just want to go back to playing basketball.
yeah, and that's how it ends. They go back to the portal to Earth and roll credits.
And this has been John Dies at the End. Apparently, he didn't. I mean,
Like they did release this as a book series, and if you pull it up, you can see the titles of the books. Like I love the titles of these books.
okay, so we have.
So you've got the first book is literally John dies at the end. That's the compilation from the web series. But then after that, the they had follow up books, which are 3 sequels. So book two is this book is full of spiders, which is a great reference to the little weird insect things. And then the third book is what the hell did I just read? Which again, great example of you took the soy sauce, now you're seeing shit. What the hell? And then the fourth book, if this book exists, you're in the wrong universe.
Now, that title was a mindfuck for me. I'm like, okay, great, I'm in the wrong universe. Fuck my life.
Yeah. Which apparently that book was released last year, but no.
What do you mean, no?
Well, it's one of those things of I think it was meant to come out last year, but they didn't actually get released.
Dude, I found it in Audible.
You found the audio one, but what about the actual hardcover? These are the actual books.
Okay, fuck it. We'll go on Amazon, take a quick look.
I feel like the print version of the book was delayed.
Let's take a look. Hold on.
If this book exists, you're in the wrong universe. Do 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 do.
Okay, if this book exists, you're in the wrong universe. Amazon.
Oh, cool.
See, it does exist.
No, it didn't come out until October of 2023. The print version got delayed
Holy shit, you're right. Goddamn. Then how the hell did I find the audiobook?
because So you can record audio faster than you can release a bunch of print.
Fine. Okay. Anyways, though, in all honesty, this movie was fun. It was weird, but it was fun.
It was like, in all honesty, we did struggle a bit to come up with something to talk about, which is probably why I allowed myself to go on a little bit more tangents this time around. But that's not because this was a boring movie. It's because this movie, it's fun, it's watchable, it has an interesting story, but its story, if you don't go through plot point by plot point by plot point, you can explain in 5 minutes. We did it. The first
Literally.
5 minutes of this podcast, of this episode, we literally explained the entire plot of this movie.
I mean, like
and
I said,
then we decided we're going to go through plot point by plot point and literally tell you almost scene by scene the entire movie.
which we didn't, thank God. But
And we
yeah.
didn't do every scene, but like I'll admit, we padded our runtime. We filled in the dead space and the extra time
Okay.
by going through almost scene by scene,
Almost.
and then letting ourselves indulge in rants. Mostly mine this time.
Okay. I actually did want to get your opinion because you've studied hallucinogenics too, right?
A little bit. Like I said, I'm more the existentialist person than the metaphysics person.
Look, like the fact that people have had similar experiences and talked to the same entity, or at least to be this, at least it seems to be the same entity on DMT or ayahuasca. It seems like there might be some other universe or plane on top of our own that we can't see, and we can only interact with it through DMT. It seems possible. I don't think it's entirely plausible because, again, it's a mental hallucination. But people have found God through less. You know what I mean? What do you think?
Yeah, it's
Do you think it's possible?
possible.
I
I mean, mass hallucinations have happened in history, as well as weird, unexplained cases of mass hysteria, like actual mass hysteria where we can't explain it, like the dancing plague.
oh God, right. Or the laughing one.
Yeah.
Okay, people, you look those up on your own because we've got runtime and I got editing to do. So have a good night.
Goodbye and good night. Have fun. Bye bye.